Good evening. My name's Starthinker, also known as Randy Pischel. Um, I'm just making a quick video before work, and I do have my corporate shirt on because it's Friday, and I always forget to wear it on Friday. But today I'm out of laundry, so I'm wearing my corporate shirt. Um, yeah, I just was online and I saw that the Mr. Clue had been solved, and that's very interesting. And I'm interested to see, first of all, who solved it. If it was like one of the usual people. When I go into, I watch a lot of Gypsy's Kiss and Kyle Lazars and K Pro and some other ones, and you see the same people in the chat room all the time. And I haven't posted anything on the forums, but I go in there and I see a lot of the same people in there too. So I'm wondering if like this is someone who might have been around for a while. Um, but also, I get really excited because I want to see their mythology. I want to see how what they did led to the treasure and how well they did. And I'm wondering if it wasn't too easy because only 11 of the 12 clues have been out. And it's over. He said he's doing more. I don't know if anyone knows who this is yet. Um, Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting. That gets me excited. Um, One thing I was thinking about was how this was like. There's lots of hunts out. There's so many hunts out, and it's. I actually suffered a brain lockup yesterday because I was number crunching. I literally had number crunching on one side, and in fact, I still got it right here. I was doing a block code on the other one, and I was looking at Mr. Clue, and I was, doing the cipher and doing the clue, and the ones that are the little ones that have been popping up online, and you know, I realized that I wasn't focusing on any one thing. I was like doing 5 minutes of this and 5 minutes of this and 5 minutes of this, and this would give me an idea for this one. So I'd start on this one again. Then I'd get an idea for this one. And I literally finally went, I'm doing too much. and so, and it's a funny thing that like when I get really involved, I'll be sitting there and I'm number crunching and stuff, and all of a sudden I just get sleepy and I'll lay down and go to sleep, and that happens quite a bit. And when you work nights, one thing I've learned not to fight it. I just sleep when I'm sleepy because otherwise I don't know when I'll get sleep. And I have been sleeping longer lately because I'm on these great pills that help me sleep. And but like today, I slept for 6 hours, and that felt wonderful. And then I got up. I'm like, I'm not even gonna look at the hunt. And of course, I get online and I see, oh, Mr. Clue's been solved. So that's interesting. But I like I said, the methodology. That's what I'm interested in more than anything. A lot of my books and uh, on codes don't deal with the code. A lot of my books on codes are the historical codes, how historically people use codes. Like in World War II, hiding codes in a newspaper. You couldn't just, you know, where's my book? I was going to get my book out. But if you say something like, go there like you always do, and where many men have laid to rest, and you kind of figure out, okay, this is that place. This is the place he's talking about. And that's kind of a descriptive clue to a place, and you got to read it. And I think those are kind of, and this is one reason why I don't like those, even though I got a lot of them in my book. The reason I don't like those because they're more geared towards locals, and it's like, if someone wasn't from Denver, they might not understand what Cheeseman Park was or the history. A lot of people living in Denver don't know the history of Cheeseman Park. I even was writing a ghost story about it. But a lot of those kind of hunts are geared toward local. That's why I'm curious to see if whoever solved this was someone local to wherever this was and recognized the clues. And that's why I'm surprised, like this Indiana hunt, like why that, that's definitely, it's localized to one county, and you'd think somebody in that county would be able to figure it out. Um, but yeah, I'm more interested in like the history, the historic codes, hiding clues in the crossword puzzles of newspapers, and hiding clues, based on, block codes and first letters of paragraphs and Beale cipher and things that, like, hey, I want to get a code to my contact in California, so I'll run a Facebook ad, and in the ad, they got the key, and then the ad looks totally normal and non-conspicuous, but yet with that key they can pull a code out of it. And that's what I love more than the descriptive poem type codes. I did put poem type codes in my book because I wanted people to have all different kinds, but the hidden code, that you need a key and you need a decipher, those to me are more interesting. And I just get tied up in them, like I said, and sometimes I go down the wrong path, and it's hard. It's like train tracks. There's little different tracks you can take, and once you go down one, it's hard to skip to the other track. Once you think, okay, this might be a dead end, and even that's the pitfalls I'm falling into, and because I wasn't focusing because I was doing so many things at a time. I'm not focusing, and I'm thinking, man, I just need to sit down and focus on one of them. And yeah, I'm not going to mention which ones I want to, but there's just so many out there, and you'd think someone who just keeps reading codes their entire life would be good at solving them, but I'm like, no, not necessarily. I don't think I have any more of a chance than anybody else. I just have, I can just kind of spot, okay, this is, 5 digits, and the code repeats 5 digits over and over again. That's probably this cipher. And if it's 12 digits, it's probably this cipher. And, this is used more. This is probably this kind of cipher. And, that's kind of the way I think, that's the only place my experience, I think, pays off. But then solving the cipher, that's a whole different thing. But, and then this Michigan hunt came out, and I'm from Michigan. I grew up in Clare, Michigan. My ex-wife is from Farwell, Michigan, and a lot of my family still live in Mount Pleasant, Midland area. And so I was kind of interested to see that come up. It's too much of a buy-in, and he's got too many rules. That's not one I don't think I would participate in. I saw it on a Gypsy's Kiss that it's almost like a lottery. He's selling a limited number of tickets, and there's, I think it was estimated 250 different caches, and who knows the legalities of where these all are, because that's a lot of places to hide stuff. And, he said he buried some, the ones he talked about, he said he buried, so I don't know how many he actually buried, maybe all of them. But that's just not a hunt I'm worried about. And, one thing people were criticizing, they're like, oh, this is a money grab. He's not in it for the thrill of the chase, or he's not in it for the fun of it. And I'm like, so what? I mean, that to me is an invalid criticism, because a lot of these hunts, I wasn't hoping to like get rich or anything, but I was hoping to at least break even. So yeah, you want to make money on the hunts. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And, I was talking to my friend the other day, and she's like, why did you price your book at $7? She's looking at all these other hunts, and the buy-in is like $50, $35. They're a lot of money, and mine is $7. And they're like, well, why? She was asking me why, and I was like, because I priced it, as the lowest tier. Because when you publish a book, they tell you this is how much it costs to print the book, and this is the minimum you can sell it for, and then you can price it above that, and then that's all what you would get out of it, because they take their percentage too. And there's a lot of things that factor into that, but they do give you, this is the minimum you can sell your book for. And that's what I chose. And I read a lot of, probably because I've always written. I've written things my whole life. I like to write fiction, science fiction. I'm especially fond of time travel stories and stuff. And I got a really cool idea for my next book. It's going to be a time travel story, but the way I'm actually designing the book to be read in a different way than what you would normally read the book. But what was I saying? See, my brain is just fried. But yeah, there's a minimum price, and that's, when I was researching self-publishing, a lot of people are like, well, people go for the money grab, but what you really want is to get people to buy your book, and so I always chose a minimum price. And I have Kindle books out there that are like literally free, and I get like a penny for every one that gets downloaded on Kindle. So yeah, I always price things to the minimum. But yeah, I was hoping to at least break even, but I'm not even close, and it's really, I don't know. I think it's still out there. It's still fun and stuff, but yeah, I've issued 2 challenges, and they're not even being met. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to back off from that and just concentrate on maybe solving some. And but this Michigan guy, a money grab is not a criticism. He had a jewelry store, and because of, well, he blamed COVID-19. He said there was less thing. He had to shut down, and he ended up with all this jewelry and merchandise, and that was his thing. Hey, I'll sell tickets. I'll bury 250 caches and sell so many. I think on a Gypsy's Kiss, they did the math, and he was going to make like $400,000 if he sold all the tickets for every single hunt. But I think with his rules, he says you can't share, you can't post on social media. If you post, you can't do future hunts. And then he was like, I'm going to sue you and stuff. And I'm like, that is not a hunt I would want to participate in. If he's threatening to sue the finder because maybe they shared something on social media, that's I don't know, that's just too risky for me, because who knows where the line is drawn. I might mention, hey, I found this cache, and I'm trying to think of a state park in Michigan. Anyway, I need a state park, and Mackinac Island or wherever he hit them, and if I mention that, and is he going to come back and sue me? And then I can't participate in future hunts, and you can't collaborate, you can't talk about it. That really kind of bugs me. But the money grab, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, Forrest Fenn priced his books to make a profit, and he did donate that to charity, so that was good. But he priced it to make a profit, and if you don't price it to make some kind of profit, I don't know. At least people are going to aim to break even, I think. So I don't think that's a valid criticism. Another thing I wanted to bring up was I got my own little treasure. I've been hunting online for a certain kind of watch, and you would think these watches were dirt cheap, but they always go for hundreds of dollars. And I finally found one in all places. And on eBay, the trick is to find typos. If you're looking for diamonds and someone spelled DAI, and you find that, no one's looking for that auction, they can't find it. Of course, it's more sophisticated these days. Back in the day, this is how it worked, and you could bid on it, you get lower bids. But anyway, I found this watch in Norway, of all places. So no one was bidding on a watch from Norway, because I don't know, I've just never seen an auction from Norway. So I did finally get it, and here it is. It's it's 18 karat gold, and it has very special features to me. It came with a little tiny, and it's a brand new band, so I'm sure they just threw this on there to sell it. But this band didn't even meet on the back of my wrist. So I got a band on order. But I'm stoked that I got, and it's so heavy. It looks small, but it is just so heavy, and I think it's going to be great. I ordered a kind of a greenish band to go with it, and it goes really good with the gold. So I'm just stoked about that. But that was like 3 months ago. There was a point I kept watching shipping. It was because it's got to go through Europe and it's got to go through customs, and then it finally arrived in Chicago, and I'm like, oh, it's in Chicago, but then it was in Chicago for weeks, and I'm like, that must be, you know, the customs in Chicago. And then finally it got into the postal service, and it came yesterday, and the first thing I did was like the band was like, ugh. And it's so hard to find a band my size. I didn't realize how hard it was, because I bought this watch. This is the watch I'm currently wearing, and it's a piece of junk. I paid like $5 for it, but I took it apart so I could measure how long it was. And I'm like, well, this band, you know, that's a $5 watch. Why can't I find a watch band that's that big? It was just harder than I thought, but I got one on order, and hopefully it'll fit me. I'm measuring, it's like the very last hole should fit me, so I guess I'll find out. And then I was looking at the stretchy bands, and I'm like, I've had stretchy bands before, and I don't care for them because you can't, they just feel like you can't control how the watch is sitting on your wrist. But anyway, that's my treasure for the day. But yeah, I do want to talk about all the hunts and burnout, and this is what I made a video a couple weeks ago, and I was like, when Forrest Fenn's treasure was first found and all these hunts came out, I made a video, and I was like, there are too many hunts. You know, if you got an idea for a hunt, wait a few months for all this to die down. And but I think these hunts now are like, you know, one hunt even used Where Warm Waters Halt as one of the hints in the hunt, so you know that was a Forrest Fenn fan. But like, I don't know, there's just so many. And this one here, I don't know how much time they put into it, but I'm sure he was disappointed, he or she, because I don't know who did it, but they were like disappointed that you know, they didn't even get their 12th clue out, and someone picked it up. And so I'm sure they learned for the next one. But I mean, the prize, I can't remember what the prize was on that one. Was this the silver bar one or the gold bar one? Can't remember. But yeah, just so many. And that was one, I wasn't even going to work on this till the 12th clue was out, because I just figured, hey, the 12th clue might be the one that tells you what state to go to, you know, or something. So obviously not, because somebody found it already. But yeah, I was just writing everything down, and I solved some of the ciphers that were on there. They were Vigenère ciphers. Vigenère, I don't know how. I always read it, but I never think to say it out loud. But yeah, and it'd be interesting to see if he posts a solution so we know what he did. One thing I do like about Michael Statler was he, you know, because there was 13 puzzles in his book, and he posted a little solution book. Not many people bought that, but I do have a copy, so it does go through. It's like one of those books that tells you how someone did their codes, and it walks through all the answers and stuff, and so it's kind of neat to have that. The second book, he didn't own the rights to that, so he couldn't publish his solution book. And everyone, that's a hunt. It looked insanely complicated. I think it was simple because I found some hints. In fact, one of my puzzles was based on a puzzle in his book that no one solved. But I think I came close. But when everything went belly up, I kind of folded that book up and put it away. In fact, all my pages are still online because I scanned the entire book and put it on my website. But I'm not going to tell you what my website is. Anyway, I should get to work. I don't know if anyone's going live tonight or anything. I guess we'll see. And but yeah, don't criticize people for trying to make money on treasure hunts, because that's a thing you do. Everything, I mean, if you're doing something and not trying to make money, yeah, it's your hobby or whatever, that's fine. But you know, you got to finance that somehow, unless you're someone with disposable income, which not a lot of people are these days. You got to fund that somehow. So I don't hold anything against anybody trying to make money. But the hunts, man, there's just so many of them. And like I said, I like the code-based hunts because they follow rules. I'm a rule. That's why I think I'm so good at my job. I was hired as a help desk person, and then because I was so good at troubleshooting and finding the cause of the issue, because a lot of people were just like, hey, I'll reinstall that program, but I'm like, you got to find out why that program was crashing, because if you reinstall it, it's just going to start crashing again. And I think that's why I'm good at that, because I'm just very analytical and I know exactly the steps a computer is going to take. And a lot of people look at it and they don't realize that there's steps a computer takes in a program. And I can say, yeah, okay, it failed at this step, and therefore this and this and this, and people just see, oh, the program crashed, let's just reinstall it. And I'm like, no, you got to figure it out. So I think that's why I'm good at that, and that's why when the help desk, they moved the help desk to the Philippines, and so I lost my job, but then they kept me at the company to be the programmer, installer, and computer setup person, and I do everything on the night shift because I'm the only one there. So I'm also in the plant fixing computers and robots and network issues and a little bit of everything. But yeah, my main job is to set up computers, install programs, and troubleshoot when these programs don't work right. But anyway, I'll wrap it up. Again, I am stoked for my watch. I've been hunting for this for so long. And this is a model that I've never seen before, and I don't know if it was something just produced for Norway. But once I got it, because the auction said unknown manufacturer, and I was like, that can't be right. And I'm looking at it, and there's just like literally no markings on it whatsoever. On the back, it just tells you that it's 18 karat gold with a stainless steel back. That's all it says. There's no, and I might pop the back, but it's vintage and it's I don't know how fragile it is, but I just can't wait to get my watch band. And when I do, I'll be wearing this because I got it's charging right now, but I'll have something on each hand because I got my Fitbit from my other hand. But I'm just really stoked that this finally arrived and I can finally look at it. And I'm unstoked that the band didn't even fit around my wrist. So anyway, lots of hunts out there. My advice, pick one and stick with it. And if another one comes out, because that's what happened, was like I was working on one and this other one came out, I'm like, oh, that one looks better. And then I started working on that one, and and then another one came out, and I was like, oh, but that's like a poem type hunt. And then maybe we should come up with a video that says, here are the types of hunts, and here's are the type of codes, and maybe I'll do that. That'd be tricky though, because I have so many different codes in my book that if I start talking about codes, you might figure out which ones are my favorites. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna go out for a hamburger, and take it easy and have a good night.